Hey, Mason, Lucy. This is a story that Lucy kind of asked me for a long time ago, called The Frog Prince, and she wanted a story about a princess. So, this is a very old story, and you might have heard it before, maybe a little bit different. Begins once upon a time there was a beautiful princess. She had a golden ball, and it was her favorite plaything. She took it wherever she went. Now, one day the princess was playing in the woods near a well, and she threw her ball high into the air. But when it fell, splash! It fell right into a well. Now the princess watched her golden ball sink deep into the water of the well, and she began to cry. And she cried harder and harder. But suddenly, someone said,
"What's the matter, Princess? Why are you making so much noise?"
The princess looked around, and then she looked into the well. An ugly little frog was looking up at her, and the frog asked again,
"What's the matter, Princess?"
"Oh, it's you old water splasher," the princess said. "My golden ball has fallen into the well. That's why I'm crying."
"Well, stop crying," said the frog. "Maybe I can help you. What will you give me if I get your ball for you?"
"I'll give you whatever you want, dear frog," said the princess. "Would you like my fine silk dress, or my necklace of pearls? Or would you like my golden crown?"
"No," said the frog. "What would I do with your fine silk dress? Or your necklace of pearls? And what would I do with your golden crown?"
"Well, what do you want then?" asked the princess. The frog looked at the beautiful princess, and he said,
"I want to be your friend and your playmate. I want to sit with you at the supper table. I want to eat with you from your golden plate and drink from your golden cup. I want to sleep on your fine silk pillow. If you promise to let me do these things, I'll get your ball for you."
"I promise," the princess said. But what she was thinking was, how could this nasty little frog come to my castle and be my playmate? He has to stay here in his well. And so she said again, "I promise." And so the frog went down deep into the well, and soon he came up with the golden ball in his mouth, and he threw it onto the grass.
"Ow!" said the princess. "My golden ball!"
And she picked it up, and she ran away.
"Wait!" cried the frog.
"Wait!
"Take me with you! I can't go as fast as you!"
But the princess did not wait. She ran home to the castle, and soon she forgot all about that poor little frog. Now, the next day, at supper time, the princess sat at the table with her father, the king, and all the people of the court. And suddenly, everyone heard some strange noises outside. Splish, splash, splish, splash. It was the sound of little wet feet coming up the stairs to the castle. And then, flip, flap, flip, flap, there was a slippery little knock at the door, and someone called,
"Princess, Princess, open up! Princess, Princess, let us sup!"
The princess ran to the door and opened it, and when she saw the frog, she shut the door quickly. The princess came running back to the table, and the king looked at her. "What are you afraid of, daughter?" he asked. "Is there a giant at the door who wants to carry you off?" "Oh, no, father," said the princess. "It is not a giant.
It is a nasty little frog."
And the princess told her father how the frog had found her ball, and she told him about the promise.
I promised I would let him be my friend and my playmate," she said, "but I never thought he would really come out of the well." Flip, flap, flip, flap.
There was that slippery little knock again, and someone called,
"Princess, princess, open up! Princess, princess, let us sup! Remember who brought the ball from that well? Promise, promise, remember it well."
"You must keep your promise, daughter," said the king. "Open the door and let the frog in." So the princess had to open the door. The frog hopped in and followed her to the table, and he stopped by her chair.
"Pick me up and put me next to your plate,"
said the frog. "Go ahead," the king said. "Do as the frog says. You must keep your promise." The princess had to put the frog on the table. Everyone could see that she really did not want to do it. The frog ate with the princess from her golden plate, and he drank from her golden cup. The frog liked his supper very much, but the princess, she couldn't eat a thing. At last the frog said,
"Now I'm ready to go to sleep. Carry me to your bedroom and put me on your fine silk pillow."
The princess began to cry. "Oh, stop crying," said the king. "Do as the frog says. You made a promise, and you must keep it." And so the princess had to carry the frog up to her bedroom. She took hold of him with 2 fingers, and she put him in the corner of her room. But the frog said,
"I'm tired. I want to go to sleep on a fine bed, just like you. Put me on your silk pillow, or I'll tell your father."
Now that made the princess very angry. She picked up the frog and she threw him against the wall. When he fell to the floor, she began to feel kind of bad that she'd hurt the frog. And she walked over and asked,
Are you okay?"
I don't know. And she picked him up and she began to feel sorry for how mean she'd been treating the frog. And she said, I'm sorry. I'll be your friend. I promise." And the frog just looked at her. And she still felt bad because obviously the frog was kind of hurt, and she leaned over and gently kissed him. And now the frog was no longer a frog. Now he was a tall prince with beautiful, kind eyes, and he was smiling at the princess. "A wicked witch turned me into a frog," he said, "but now the spell is broken." "Oh, my goodness!" the princess cried. And she ran to tell the king, who was very excited to find this handsome young prince who wanted to marry his daughter. And they did, and they lived happily ever after.